Hey, let's try this again. I've attempted to record this episode a few times with some topics that didn't go anywhere. Wasn't feeling the energy. Um, Sometimes you have an idea, you try to push forward, and then you get to a certain point, and you're like, "Fuck it, this is stupid. This is really stupid." Then you stop recording. I hit that point a couple of times. You know, I was talking about, just to reiterate the ideas that didn't go anywhere. You know, like all these posts about the shows in the 90s were great, like the Rugrats. No, the Rugrats fucking suck. Okay? You just like being a kid with no responsibilities, right? You're growing up, everything's new. That's what you liked, right? It wasn't about not having cell phones or any of that shit or the shows on TV. I mean, every time I turned on the Rugrats when I was little, it was the same fucking two episodes, all right? Either Chucky was falling into a whiskey barrel full of shampoo, which for some reason, I think in the episode it was like a powdered sort of shampoo, which was like, it's like a reference to like older shit, I think, when they used to do that. Or in more fancy barbershops, perhaps. Or the episode with the junk food kid that picks on everyone and is a bully. And then in the end, they end up, I forget how they beat the junk food kid, who's a girl, big bully. And she ends up eating vegetables and being way nicer. So somehow they like chopped the bitch out of her. I don't know how they did it. I forget how they did. I don't care. Either way, it was a ton of reruns, until it was. Wild Thornberrys weren't that great. They weren't that great. The older sister was kind of hot, but that was because you're a kid, and that's what happens. And for some reason, like the dad's English, I don't know where the fucking mom is. I have no idea. All right, they got a monkey, chimpanzee. Maybe there was a mom. I don't remember. Maybe they were a single dad family. I actually don't recall. Show wasn't that great. Everything pre-SpongeBob was pretty shitty. Rocko's Modern Life is like, that's a bizarre show, man. That's interesting. But again, a lot of the stuff you saw was constant reruns. Okay? Things before the internet, that was another topic. A lot of people, things were better before the internet, before cell phones. Yeah, but it fucking wasn't. All right, people were still taking pictures everywhere. The only difference was you had a disposable camera that you had to take to a fucking CVS and pay someone to develop. Wait an hour, come back. It was ridiculous. And people were still doing the same shit. People were still not living in the moment or living in the moment, regardless of having a phone or not. They were still doing the same shit, trying to videotape what was going on. They were trying to take pictures. If you want to live in the moment, put the shit in your pocket. Take a picture, throw it back in your pocket. It's really not hard to live in the moment because this is life. Every moment. All right? I really don't get that. Though. Yo, man, just live in the moment. Like, what are you saying? Don't think at all? You got to think, right? If you just live in the moment all the time, that's how people get murdered. They don't think about consequences, those murderers. Or they do, and they plot it out and think of it days ahead of time, all right? And they think about where they're going to chop your body up. They think about, do I have room in the freezer? Should I dig a hole in the backyard? Where in Mexico exactly am I moving to after this? But the point is, people don't think about a lot. They live in the moment when they commit crimes, is all I'm saying. Okay, that's why 7-Elevens get robbed. Why are you robbing a 7-Eleven? Do you really think they have that much cash in the register? I mean, you're better off probably robbing a Walmart. Now, I know it's scarier because there's a lot more registers around, but 7-Eleven isn't making as much money as like a Target, or carrying as much. Wawa, they carry all 5s and 1s for whatever reason because they think that'll make it harder to rob, or so they don't have that much money in the register, so if you rob them, it's not that big of a loss. I really don't get the idea there, because they're going to keep giving people change and making money. So every time they hit $200 in the register, they just start chopping it off the top. Is that how it... The point is, it's not about living in the moment. People who do heroin live in the moment. They don't think about the future. All right, they just shoot that shit up. And that's it, because the moment's amazing, all right? It's a hell of a moment. being disassociated from reality. And that's really the opposite of living in the moment, right? That's like the ultimate phone. Just being whacked out on drugs. Being separated from the moment. You know? And fuck you. You know what? A lot of hippies say that shit. You know? A lot of these burners and stuff like that. They say, oh, live in the moment, man. I'm like, why? You're not. You're fucking high. You know? Never thought of it that way. But that's where you hear the fucking shit. You know? Or you could live in the moment. You could too. If you were fucking sober. You know what I mean? But, you know, you're not going to, you know? But yeah, things before the internet. That was the other topic. You know, as you see, like, these topics don't go anywhere. That's why I couldn't get a full podcast going, you know? You know, before the internet, of course, there's plague, polio, leprosy, and Genghis Khan. There's also Mao, which, you know, I'm not a history buff, but that was like just this century. Well, not this century, 19th century. 20th century? 20th century, sorry. The 1900s, 20th century. That dude killed like between, they don't have exact numbers, but it's between 20 and 45 million. That's absurd. That is ridiculous. That's more than Hitler and Stalin put together. This guy was like mass producing murder, you know? And I think a lot of it was due to starvation and like how, because he was ruling the people, so pretty much everyone that died under him at the time was technically, you know, he was responsible for, they say. But still, that's some hardcore shit. Hardcore. Those are some big numbers, man, and that's all before the internet. Not that long ago, though. Not that long ago. See, these topics don't really go anywhere. That's the thing. You know, and the Chinese, speaking of that, they don't invent anything. You know, they don't. They just pretty much mass produce stuff because they're really good with numbers, right? They're good with like, some of them are good with finance and business because they're number savvy. They're like, I had the word for it earlier. Like, not, I want to say like practical, but very, whatever side, I think right brain, that's the math side, right? You know, so they know logistics. They're good at that. Software, they're good at that. They're good at puzzles. They're good at figuring that shit out. They're good at how can we mass produce this without exactly infringing on the patent, right? You got a lot of knockoffs going on in China. But they don't invent shit. You know, that's what I find really interesting. You know, now, they invented the noodle, but what have they done for us lately? You know what I mean? So that was interesting, I thought. That was interesting. But America, that's where inventions happen. That's where inventions happen. And this is why I couldn't get a topic going. Last night, we went out to dinner. My dad, 3 uncles. Yeah, 3 uncles, my dad, and myself. 5 of us. Just shooting the shit, telling some jokes. They haven't seen him in a year. I haven't seen him in about a year. So we were all catching up and stuff like that. And I haven't seen them in about a year either, actually, to be honest. And that was a fun time. It was delicious. It was unadulterated, uncensored. You know, it was just cool. You know, we caught up, and you know, I kind of felt like an adult because I was surrounded by people twice my age who were talking to me like a human being. So that was neat. Yeah, I was kind of like, am I gonna be like the only young dude? Because I was the only kid. None of my cousins were there. And you know, I say kid being, you know, almost 30 at this point. But you know, it was good. It was good. So this is why I couldn't get a podcast going. I can't fucking finish a topic. I can't do it. The last episode had 3 views now or something. Those numbers suck. Get them fucking numbers up. Be more like Mao. Okay? I want to see 30 to 45 million views. All right? That's what I want to see. That's a lot, man. That's some viral shit. This video keeps coming up on my feed. It's like some like young white kid. It's like, he can rap about literally anything. I'm like, that's what they do. That's what rappers do. They rap about literally anything. That's not hard. That's not a crazy talent. I am tempted to click the video because it's like, the thing gets like millions more views every single day. And, you know, obviously that video is doing something that I'm not, because I get less views every single day with every new video I put out. So yeah, here we are. Got to go to a Chinese buffet later. I you know, been trying to communicate with my dad over this thing, over how are we meeting up, how are we getting there, and the clock's ticking. The clock is ticking. It is currently 6:22 p.m. We're supposed to meet there at 8, and I know for a fact the place is about an hour from my house. But he came over here. He flew here from down south, let's say. I don't like giving up that much information here. Okay. But he flew up here, came without a rental, so he's been Ubering around. And if in any way possible, I'm going to try to pick him up to make the drive easier, essentially. Maybe save some cash on an Uber. Just see what works. But I think he lost service or his phone died, so I'm kind of in limbo. And that's when I decided to hit the record button, because I've been putting off making this podcast. Because I haven't had a topic. I haven't really had a topic to talk about. Just sitting here living in the moment in the 21st century where things are better. Okay? Maybe it was a funner time being younger. Maybe back then some cool stuff was happening. You were getting married, having kids, starting a business. You were young, making friends for the first time, playing hockey in the street. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is right now is better. Okay? It's better. It's the best time to be alive, period. All right? Even the poor people of nowadays are living better than some of the wealthy people of yesteryear. Which is kind of a stretch, right? That's a kind of a stretch to say. I don't think the richest guy, even in like any time in history, was ever sleeping in the street, right? They always had something going for them. Even if there wasn't plumbing or electricity. So I don't know if that's true. But it's not as bad, right? The poor people now don't have it as bad off as the poor people back then. Because back then, poor people just died. No one gave like any shits whatsoever. Got disease, died. Now they needed to keep some of them around so they could enslave them and have them work for free. But that required like food and like a little bit of medicine to keep the thing going. It still costs money. Like, there's no such thing as free slavery. You got to pay a little bit, right? There's the initial purchase, and then it's like a car. There's maintenance. You got to feed it once in a while so that it can do your shit for you. But it's it's better to be even. Nowadays you get like welfare and a cell phone and shit when you're poor. So that's pretty neat. Now I know there's still homeless people on the street. That's an insensitive thing to say, Jim. But it's the best time to be alive. Move up in class. Middle class is the best time to be middle class. I'll give you that, right? Because back in the day, middle class was living like poor now, right? Living like lower class. And now upper class nowadays is living like super, super upper class, right? The richest people back then didn't even have air conditioning. In Egypt, you had people building pyramids for you, but you couldn't cool your ass off. That was this podcast has been horrible. But I'm going to give you this episode as a token of my gratitude for listening and keeping up. And tomorrow will be better. At least that's what I tell myself. I got to get some sleep. Catch up on sleep tonight. That's not going to happen, but I do have to at some point catch up. Maybe over the weekend I'll catch up. But here we are. That's it. I have like a minute left. Do you want me to fill the last minute? I'll fill it up. I got like 45 seconds. Otherwise, if I make the video too long, can't upload it to YouTube, then we got problems. So, 20, I got like 30 more seconds. What do you want to talk about? I'm going to try to make it less, I don't want to get political. That's what everyone's talking about. I know there's tons of easy subjects there, right? And all this shit. But that's not me. This is going to be a refreshing show about literally nothing.